Hello, and welcome to this live session on a very special, very important aspect of healing. And we are going to talk about the secrets of healing. You'd be astonished to know thousands of people are healed unexplained manner, in a very unusual manner, and we do not know what happens. Medical science doesn't have a clue how they get healed. What is it that's leading to that healing process? That's exactly what we are going to study, and we will also look at the research which has been happening on this field and few of the cases which are indicating towards some compelling aspects of healing. And if probably we can embrace those in our life, our healing would be a natural thing happening inside. That's what we're going to look at. Welcome all of you on this wonderful evening when we are delving into one more aspect of life, that's healing and the secrets. We'll talk about some of the scientific aspects of healing as well. So let's get in and understand this. Great to have all of you. Before I proceed further, I would love to hear from you. How is it going? And let me know, are you getting my voice? Are you seeing my picture also on your screen? And is the slide where it's mentioned secrets of healing is also visible on your screen? If all of these are okay, just write all good. Yeah. If you can mention all good, so that would give me a signal that all of us, we are getting it. Few of you, if you can just respond to that, all good, great. So let's proceed and find out what exactly is this healing. Why it is so mysterious, and why is it happening to some people and not to everybody? What is the differentiating factor? And that's precisely what we are going to look at as we proceed further. Welcome, and let's get in straight away. Now, when we talk about healing, something important we will see here, that thousands of cases of spontaneous remission. It's a technical term by medical science where there is no explanation for a recovery. That means somebody is having some serious disease, like let's say cancer, and suddenly something happened and that person is now fine. Or somebody is having some accident, and in that accident medical science is saying you are paralyzed, nothing can bring you back on your feet, and something happens, that person comes back and has a normal life. What is it? What is that explanation? That's precisely what we are going to look at, and some of the research which are happening, fascinating research. We are also going to look through some of the cases and what exactly has happened in those cases for healing. Let's get in and let's understand one after the other. I have 4 powerful cases with me to share with you, and these are my favorites. But the last one, which is concerning one Indian lady, and that remission, that spontaneous remission probably is having a very powerful story behind it, and that can give us a sense, clear sense, what is happening. And we will look at each one of them which have been documented. Books have been published on that. Let's look into the first one. Very important, very interesting, very powerful, and this one is unexpected healing of many, but one very compelling case of Anita Fitzgerald, and this was mentioned in a book named Angels in the ER, Emergency Room. The picture that you are seeing on your screen is that of Dr. Robert Leslie. He is a doctor in an emergency room, and something very unusual he noticed. Not just he, other medical staffs, they noticed something unusual is happening. In some cases, they could sense some kind of energy. They could sense some kind of different aspect happening in that particular room to that particular patient. And this was not happening to everyone, but in few cases it was happening. Even some of them said we could sense as if some other beings are present there, some spiritual guides are there to heal those persons. Amazing, astounding, and as if the energy is changing in that room, and they could sense it. This has been enumerated, recorded, documented, number of cases, and these are number of volumes of this book. I think at least 2 volumes of Angels in the ER, in the emergency room. Some of the cases are unexplained. They had given up. Medical science had given up on such cases. In case of Anita Fitzgerald, who had an extreme accident, and they thought that no way she could be brought back. She would definitely die. But it didn't happen. She came back, and later on it was known that she had that internal feeling that I am going to be healed, and there is some power outside which is coming in and healing me, and that power is also inside me. That's what was found out in this case. So this is interesting, but far more interesting cases I'm going to share, where documentation and recording and detailing was much more. And I'm coming to another very fascinating, very important, very interesting aspect of healing, the next one. This gentleman, Moorish Goodman, also known as the Miracle Man, he had a plane crash accident, almost on the verge of dying, and then somehow he got saved and was paralyzed. And he was clearly told by the doctor and all the medical science experts there is no way he can be back on his feet. But one thing what this gentleman, Moorish Goodman, was always thinking, yes, I will come back. It was his courage, his conviction, his trust, and somewhere he was feeling it's not just the medicine or a surgery would heal me, there is something else within me. If I constantly work with it, I will get healed. And he was with positive thinking. He just thought that I'm feeling I'm getting healed. That was only thing he was visualizing. He was having affirmation of being healed through the process. And as he surprised everybody, including the doctors and the medical sciences, he was back on his feet. This was again Miracle Man, as they call him. Healing could happen, and healing happens. But there are something that we need to understand. What is that underlying philosophy of healing? That's what has been recorded by the next case. And this case, this very incident was experienced by a person who was into the medical science. It's Dr. Joe Dispenza. He had an accident. It was a severe accident in his early 20s, and first doctor said you will die. Next they say you will have to undergo about 50 surgeries, and then only probably you will survive. There is a chance of about less than 10% that you would survive and can have something, at least move your hands some way. And Dr. Joe Dispenza, somehow he did not agree, because the chances of losing the life through the surgery process was much more than survival. So it was prudent not to undergo surgery. But what he did, and what he was completely getting into, engrossed into and immersed into, was an internal state of being, of healing. And all these things he has documented in multiple books. Dr. Joe Dispenza is a very regarded and revered figure in the domain of motivation, healing, and spirituality. In these books, Evolve Your Brain and You Are the Placebo. I'll talk about the placebo effect, where he says that I had done research in multiple cases, including on myself. And one thing that I have figured out is there is a process of healing. And process of healing is connecting to your deeper self. Healing as a power is already there inside. Healing as a power is already existing in the universe. We just need to connect and receive with some precondition. The precondition is unconditionality. The precondition is trust. The precondition is absolute surrender. When we do that, healing happens, because internally there is a change in our system. There is a change in the internal environment, and that leads to healing. That changes our internal processes. And many scientific research in the modern era, in the last 20-30 years, which are suggesting that it is not just about medication. It's about our intent to come back, to recover, which is very, very important. In fact, many of the cancer treatments, they are integrating emotionality into it. They are integrating love and affection into that, because that is where healing lies. Healing has got certain aspects which needs to be followed. One, we need to have a complete sense of trust, complete sense of surrender. That means I'm absolutely confident that I'll be taken care of. I need not think about when I'm going to get recovered. That's what Joe Dispenza is also mentioning, that thousands of cases he has studied in the area of spontaneous remission. Spontaneous remission means that somebody had some problem in life, some disease in life, some ailment in life, or some accident in life, where the chances of survival was minimal, where there were chances of even getting back to normal lifestyle was very less, but they came back. Cancer was there, completely got wiped out. There were some kind of nervous disorder, some kind of other critical organ disorder, suddenly it vanished. In all these cases, what Dispenza could find out is there was a sense of spirituality involved. All of us, if you agree with this, let us all just mention that connect to ourself. That spirituality, the S word matters. Spirituality here doesn't mean that we are going for worship, going for some kind of rituals. It's about connecting at a deeper level to our inner powers. That is what is a very common factor in all the cases of spontaneous remission. Yeah. I could see a very fascinating comment out there. I really love it. I'll read it out. This says, last month I was also in coma for 12 hours due to hyponatremia, but the surprising part is I was alert, awake, my way to hospital, though the next day I could not remember anything. So this is fascinating. So in spite of coma, you could be alert and awake. And I'm sure the healing is something which is an internal aspect of life, an inner world thing. So if we get it, just mention connect to self. Connect to self is the root, is the underlying factor of healing. Underlying factor of healing. And few research very recently, in 2016, there was a Nobel Prize awarded on such things. Lysosome, how it functions and how it works for healing of the body, and that's what has been found out. And Osumi, a Japanese scientist who got Nobel Prize on that, where he says that this healing energy is there inside every cell of the body, which can actually eat up, heal all the toxins and negativity if we allow that to happen. If you are not unnecessarily abusing and flooding our body with toxins and with overeating, at the same time, one additional factor, the internal state of being of connectedness. Another fascinating book on this is Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton. Bruce Lipton, who is a genetic scientist, later on he came to the space of spirituality and deeper aspect of awareness and how awareness affects genetic expression. Part of epigenetics, beyond the genes. Is it that genes determine our destiny or something else beyond which determine our destiny, is the question which Bruce Lipton puts very categorically, that it's not the genes. Genes are there, but our will, our intent, our connect, our internal environment has the power to express the appropriate genes, so we go beyond the genes. Epigenetics is one thing that he focuses on, and he says the environment that we create inside our body, our internal mind, causes the appropriate genes to express. Spontaneous remission is an outcome of that. If you are connected, then genetic expression change, and probably that can lead to some kind of unexpected, unexplained healing process happening. So all these scientific aspects in the recent times are strongly hinting and indicating towards one aspect of life, that is connectedness to ourselves, connectedness to the higher energy fields and consciousness. Now when we say this, when we talk about this, it sometimes sounds little esoteric, not in the space of science, not in the domain of science, but interestingly, this is no more the case. Most of the scientists in the present era, including doctors who are working on these fields, contemplative neuroscience, if you have heard about one therapy known as the mindfulness based stress reduction therapy by John Kabat-Zinn, and mindfulness based cognitive therapy, which is there in Oxford, these therapies are based on the contemplative sciences, the meditative sciences, the spiritual sciences, and astonishingly they are healing far better than even medical intervention. And that's what is revealing to the present era. Can we change our internal state and bring in healing as a power which is already there? We just need to invoke that, just need to activate that power of healing in our life. So that's exactly and precisely what has been mentioned in these books. If you look at the second book, You Are the Placebo, placebo effect. If you have heard about this, you can mention P. Heard about P, HP, you can all write that. If you have heard about this effect known as the placebo effect. Placebo effect is, if we think that I'm getting healed, I will get healed. There are numerous number of research which has been there. There have been documented and published. Placebo effect, typically, let's say you have fever and a doctor comes and gives you just distilled water as an injection, saying that I have given you the best medicine, your fever will subside in 30 minutes. Many cases it has been seen that fever subsides in 30 minutes, no paracetamol, no other thing given to them. Seen also in case of many of the cold cases, allergy cases, where they have given some medicine, sugar pills. They will give you a sugar pill saying that have it and in next 1 hour everything will be okay, and many of the cases it happens. This was inexplicable and they were completely perplexed. What is it that is happening? Why somebody is not given the medicine but the medicinal effect is reflecting in his or her body? What is it? Later on it was discovered that actually there is certain internal system which get activated just if we start thinking that the medicine is working. That's called the placebo effect. And Joe Dispenza in his book, You Are the Placebo, that means he's saying that you are the one, I am the one, and all of us here, we are the placebo itself, hinting that healing energy, healing power is always there. What is placebo? That means any medicine that comes, if my body is accepting it, it is working. If my body is rejecting it, it is not going to work. And in some cases, if my body just feels, my mind just feels this is going to heal me, even if it is sugar pill or even if it is distilled water injection, it works. Such a power that all of us we have, and in addition to that, that healing power gets activated when we are connected internally, when we have that sense of spirituality. Spirituality in essence is elevation of our consciousness. Elevation of our consciousness is connecting to our internal self, understanding who we really are, understanding that we are that divine being having the healing power already existing within. And once we have that, healing happens normally, naturally, and it becomes such a natural, normal thing in our life. We don't need to say that I need to heal myself. It just happens when we are having that inner connect. And that's what has been found out in many of the cases. And as I mentioned, my favorite of all these cases is Anita Moorjani. This is probably one of the most unusual, unexplained cases ever seen in two aspects. One, Anita Moorjani was having fourth stage of cancer. There was absolutely no scope of recovery in any form. And then she had almost like it was in the last stage. She was undergoing treatment, but she was almost like under the palliative care unit, about to die. And she got into coma. Then she had a near-death experience. Fascinating book where she writes in this book, Dying to be Me. She was almost declared dead. Nothing was working inside. She had an experience of going through that near death. She was having some beings around her and blessing her, giving her some power. And she narrates the entire event that happens. She also gives evidences that how she was knowing other things happening in the world, in the hospital room, in things around at distant places, which was again inexplicable. How can, whose brain is dead, who is in a hospital room, let's say there's some ways she can find out what is happening in the hospital room, but how she could know other things happening elsewhere with such detailed record? And not just that, the biggest evidence comes when she is back in life. When she is back in life, not just she had the near-death experience, but she was cured. No trace of cancer. This was a miraculous, mysterious thing happening in Anita Moorjani's life. She was in America and under treatment, but things she was not healed because of treatment. She was healed because of grace. She was healed because of the vast, expansive power of healing which is always there and always present. And that she narrates because she had somehow all the time had that inner feeling that I'm going to recover. I have something in me which is taking care of me. Probably these are the few instances which are giving us powerful sense that we have the power. We have the healing energy. But that power doesn't come per force. We cannot force it. Come, I want to heal myself. It's not that force. It's more of connect, more of trust, more of surrender, more of unconditional love, compassion. That's what they say. When we are connecting to ourselves, miracle happens. Let's all write here, miracle happens. And miracle is not something unusual. We have made it unusual. Because of our overtly engaged behavior in various other negative things, we have actually blocked those flow of miracles, flow of energy, flow of healing happening in our life. So this is probably one of the eye-opening aspect that if we open up, if we connect, if we are unconditionally connecting to the universe, nothing can stop us from expressing miracle in our life. And there are evidences, numerous, hundreds. These are few I thought I'll just bring forth, but there are so many out there which are all the time present in our life. So wonderful to see all your comments coming in, and I trust that this session was of worth, and still we have to go for some more understanding here. And the thing is this, which you all have said, healing is the art of inner connection. Healing is the art of inner connection. If I connect, when I say inner connection, it is connecting to that divinity, that spark of divinity which is always there, which has the healing power, which has the power to manifest. We just need to connect out there. That connection is what we are talking about. And that connection is a choice. Would you agree on this? Would you agree that that connection is actually a choice? If we have the choice to heal ourselves, if we have the urge, that internal trust, we can connect and heal ourselves. It's a choice. If you agree with me, just mention healing is a choice. And healing can be manifested. Healing can be brought in, invited, expressed through us, channelized through us, if we are open to healing, if we are having that kind of sense of connectedness to that inner divinity, that spark of divinity which is always there. We are alive itself is a miracle. As I mentioned another book, it's Telltale Brain by Dr. V.S. Ramachandran, who mentions the brain itself is an amazing instrument, having trillions of cells and billions of cells, and each of the cell having connections, multiple connections. If you add up those connections, it's more than the number of elementary particles available in the entire universe. A radical claim that number of possible human state of mind is more than the number of elementary particles, meaning not even atoms, electrons, protons, neutrons. He says it mathematically. If that is the kind of states that we can generate within ourselves, it cannot be without an extraordinary power, an expansive intelligence and consciousness always there inside to take charge of us. So connecting to that is what spirituality is, and connecting to that is what expressing healing in our life. Wonderful, wonderful to see all your wonderful comments, and lovely to have your presence. How was the session? Would love to hear from you how you felt about this session. How was it? Did you feel something which is empowering you through this? Just in 1 or 2 words, if you can put it as a comment, that will be wonderful. And also, I would urge all of you, if you liked the session, please do like the video, which would help us to reach out to larger audience, and as YouTube algorithm will catch it as people are liking, it can spread it to further for the larger groups of people. And that's what our intent is. Let these things be embraced and understood. Let's overcome the unnecessary toxicity in the society, unnecessary fightings. Let's embrace these powers given to humanity because of the grace of nature and universe. Let's get them and express our true power, true nature. So I would urge all of you to do that. And also, if you have not subscribed to this channel, you can consider subscribing, which would naturally give you the intimation for all our sessions, and it can also help more and more people to join in, and you can share it with all your family members, all your friends, and let's spread this message and make this world a beautiful place. May God bless all of us. Look forward to see you again at 8 p.m. tomorrow with one more aspect of our life, one more fascinating, unexplained and aspect which is there, but we would definitely need something to know about it and get deeper into that. Thank you very much. May God bless all of us. Look forward to see you again at 8 p.m. tomorrow. Thank you. Take care.